Election day is here. Just moments ago, polling sites opened across our area.
Presidential battle, it's being closely watched around the world. The candidates and their surrogates hitting the battleground states hard in this final day of campaigning.
Concerns are growing that the animosity over the election will not end when the polls close. That's why cities from coast to coast are preparing for possible civil unrest. We have live team coverage beginning with Today in New York's Kat Creag, who's at the Barclays Center in downtown Brooklyn. Kat.
And Darlene and Michael, the Barclays building lights just turned on, so it's a little bit brighter, and we're going to zoom in into that area right there. And as you said, polling places are supposed to be open, the doors open, but there are still about 10 voters that we're seeing in line right here at the Barclays Center waiting to go in. While we're here, this is one of the 1,200 polling places that'll have officers also here patrolling, making sure everything stays safe. And taking a look at this video, what officers will also be doing, patrolling as businesses brace for potential unrest with the presidential election. It is expected there will be protests. The big concern is if there are looters across the city. Many department stores, businesses, office buildings, even some apartment buildings have boarded up their windows. The businesses are open for customers, even though some shoppers tell us it is a bit alarming to see all of this. In the Bronx, small businesses suffered damage and losses over the summer as looters struck across neighborhoods there. And police are trying to reassure them. And we heard from the NYPD's chief, Terrence Monahan. Let's listen.
We're really confident that we're going to have no issues through Election Day. The day after, there are some protests, nationwide calls for protest. We know it. We will be out there in force.
And as we've reported on News 4, the NYPD says there are no specific threats, but along with deploying extra police officers on overtime, the NYPD, Darlene and Michael, will be working with the FBI to monitor any cyber threats. And we talked about those voters that were lined up over here, about 10 or 12 of them. They are starting now to go into the building to cast their ballots here at the Barclays Center. Reporting live, Katherine Creag, Today in New York. We'll send it back to you, Darlene and Michael.
All right, thanks so much, Kat.
Also national attention now on New York's 11th congressional district. The Republican Nicole Maliotakis trying to unseat Democrat Max Rose. He is seeking his second term. Two of them traded some bitter accusations during this tight race. And then also defending their seat today, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, freshman Democrat facing Republican John Cummings, as well as her primary challenger, Michelle Caruso-Cabrera, on the independent line.
In New Jersey now, 3.5 million people have already cast their ballots. Millions more are expected to hit the polls today. Today in New York's Tracie Strahan joins us from the Prudential Center in Newark with what you can expect on the ballot. Tracie, good morning.
Darlene, good morning to you. This is another arena turned election site where voting is now underway. The doors opened and people went inside. Some of them have been waiting, well, about a half an hour now. Let's go ahead and show you some video of what they can expect when they walk inside of the Prudential Center today, because it did take some doing to turn this into a polling site. As it stands, residents from 8 of Newark's 163 voting districts will be casting their ballots here today, but they're going to be provisional paper ballots. And in addition, if you have your ballot at home but you haven't been able to drop it off just yet, there are going to be several drop-off ballot boxes inside. And we spoke to the first person in line this morning about why she felt it was so important to actually cast her vote in person.
I wanted to make sure my vote was counted and it wasn't just put in the mail. I didn't know what was going on with it. The best we can do is come out and vote. So I wanted to be first.
There are 3 referendum questions on the ballot, and question 1 has received the most attention, legalizing the recreational use of marijuana for people over the age of 21. On recent polling, it showed that 61% of likely voters intend to vote yes to legalizing cannabis in the state. It's a measure that also has support, and very public support, from Governor Phil Murphy. Again, the polls here in Newark are open this morning. They close at 8 tonight. We're live in Newark. Tracie Strahan, Today in New York. Darlene, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Trace, thanks so much. Also in New Jersey, Cory Booker seeking his second term in the Senate. You might remember he did try for the Democratic nomination for president early in the campaign. Booker has several challengers, including Republican Rick Mehta and Green Party candidate Madeline Hoffman.